Makita has a brand new line of modular storage called their MAKTRAK system. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the different options available to you. I don't have a dog in the modular storage fight. My goal with this video is to show you this system, try and answer as many potential questions as I think will come up, and then let you make an informed decision. It's a bit heavy. First, let's look at the consistent features that you will find on every MAKTRAK box, no matter which size it is. So right off the bat, you may say, Brad, are clear lids on all of them? No, that is not something that everyone has. The heavier ones, the heavy dutier ones, they have more of a, I don't know if it's a HDPE type plastic, but it's a black plastic lid rather than this clear plastic. The smaller ones will have the clear plastic so you can see what's inside of them at a glance. It does look like every single MAKTRAK has at least two different areas where you can put a padlock through and secure your boxes. So if you're worried about sticky fingers on the site, I will say though, if somebody is going to get into a box this small, they probably will just take the whole box. So, I mean, I like that they have these little padlocks, but you know, how useful they are depends on the thief that you run into, I guess. All the MAKTRAKs are going to have a heavy duty grab handle, so you can just pick up any single box that you have and carry it around. On almost all of the MAKTRAKs, that handle will fold flat and there's a nice detent, so it'll flop till you get to right about here, and then you have to kind of push. There's a detent between here and then there's another detent right there where it will stay without flopping around. The sides of all of these MAKTRAKs, they're obviously going to look a little bit different because of the different sizes of them, but all of the sides have been molded so that you can fit your fingers under there. This one, if I had heavy duty leather work gloves on, I'm not sure I would have a ton of room in between there. But if I did have heavy duty work gloves on, then I could just grab this giant handle and that's taken care of. You can also see that similar lip design here on the back as well. That's something Makita did really well with this, trying to make sure that no matter how you're grabbing this box or any of their boxes, that you've always got places that's real easy for your hand to get a hold of. With very few exceptions, all the MAKTRAK latches are going to be the same. They've got this, again, very sturdy black plastic. The actual connection point is metal to metal. So you can see there's a metal bar that runs through there. And then that's the metal bar on the latch is what catches it. And then when you open it up, again, they give you some detents. So this is all flopping around until you get to this point. And now this has hit a detent and that lid will not close on its own. You have to give a pound or two of force, I'm not sure, maybe more. The other nice thing is they have all kind of accessory trays that you can order, but I'm fairly certain that the way you are seeing these bins is the way that they would come to you if you purchase them. I'm just playing around with stuff so you guys can get an idea. We've got 4 hyper tough 12-volt batteries in these guys. We have 2 drill and driver sets. One's a Makita. One's a Heart that has some drills included. And this is a 12-volt hyper tough. This is pretty stubby, so you know it's going to depend entirely on which one will fit. The screwdriver was just a little bit too proud with the way it sat. You know, that extra chuck length just was too much for this box. You tradesmen will have to let me know what you think would fit best in these 5-inch deep dividers. The contours on the bottom of these side bins match up with the contours here, the bottom of the box. That means if you want to put a side bin in the middle, you are going to run into clearance issues. These side bins really only belong here. The middle bin, you can see, is not flat on the bottom, and it does have some tabs here on the side. Again, that's going to match that profiling in the bottom, and so those tabs will keep it from moving to the left and right. Well, if there's weight in there, obviously I could slide it around. If you wanted to put a middle bin in the side, it's going to slide a little bit more, but you shouldn't run into any clearance issues. Next up is the Makita low profile medium organizer. You can see this one is the thinnest that they're going to be making. That makes me think this one will be perfect for hardware. Because this one is so thin, you're going to have a different style of latch. These are 2 latches on one side and a permanent pivot point on the other. You still have your MAKTRAK system with your release handle. And before we get too far into it, I do want to show you that MAKTRAK system at work. So these are our tabs and channels. So you'll match up these tabs with the open slots and then slide it. You hear that click. Now this guy cannot be removed unless you pull up on this latch, and then that releases the catch mechanism. It's a lot easier if you're not doing it uphill, and then it will slide off of the bottom there. But otherwise, if we can put it back in, you should hear this click. Now these 2 things are secured, and if you were to pick this up, obviously it's going to depend on how much stuff is in it, but those will stay connected. The other thing with the MAKTRAK stuff is that they made these so that you can open anything at any time, no matter what's on it, because of that locking system. Again, if this has, let's say, 40 pounds of power tools in it, are you going to be lifting it up and risk straining the plastic? And, you know, I don't know. I'm just telling you what you can do. And you can see this is the kind of thing that would be just perfect for hardware, wire nuts if you're an electrician. What else? Maybe spray nozzles or irrigation nozzle heads if you're a sprinkler tech. These guys look to be about 2.5 inches at their deepest. This one is 1.5 inches. Maybe you're a mobile hydraulic repair tech and you want to store your fittings, your plugs, some O-rings, some seal kits in here. Now we're starting to get into the bigger boxes. This is the deep medium organizer. Again, you've got your front carry handle. Well, I don't know if you would call that front or not, but it is a carry handle. Nice finger molding on either side if you wanted to pick it up that way. We have 1 latch on the side and a permanent pivot point on the other side. This is going to look very similar to what you just saw, except it's, well, deep. So in this one, you're looking at bins that are the similar size as what we saw in that first organizer, around 5 inches, 4.5 inches, 4 inches. It just depends on what part of the profile that you're wanting to store things. If we do a comparison, you can see that this larger medium box is maybe a little bit more than double, right? Because you've got the same bins here, here, and here, and then a center organizer as well. Now we are heading into the big boys. This is the medium toolbox. We have done away with the see-through lids. These are what I would think is a stronger plastic. It feels like it. Not strong enough to step on though, so don't do that. 2 spots for padlocks, 1 latch on the end, and a permanent hinge. This does feel like there's a little bit of a detent. Now, since this one's a toolbox, I'm assuming the idea is you have bins for accessories. Maybe that's bits, hardware, who knows, some larger things up top. Maybe these are for extra batteries. So I don't know, maybe you're a fencer or something, and aside from your impact driver, a impact built bit set, maybe the 2 or 3 screws you use all the time in these tubs, maybe that's all you need. These guys will close and you don't have any issues there. I would think these are probably best for loose hardware because they are so very small. 2 inches at the deepest there, 1 inch at the deepest there. So maybe some loose impact bit heads or something like that, I'm not sure. These guys are nice for the bigger things. You can see this heart one doesn't really fit. It's a little bit too wide. That is an example of the medium toolbox and what you can put in it. Now we'll pull back for a little bit of a wider shot because I would like to show you this all together. How you would pick this up, you'd kind of have to do, whoa, no, that's the latch. Don't pick it up from the latch. Don't do that. So there's a couple different ways. Maybe from the side here, you've got your big handle there. Obviously, this is, I wouldn't say that was easy and they're all empty. So I'm just trying to do this for demonstration purposes. Whether or not you're picking up this many things with your tools, I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just trying to show you as many scenarios as possible. What I want you to see is the thing, how it opens up while everything's still attached. So let's just say, ah man, I really need something tiny out of this guy. I can open it up that way, get what I need. I guess if this was stored over here, okay, you can't do it that way because of the latch. The latch has to face outside. We're learning together. There we go. Now it should be easier to open this because of our pivot point, and that's not going to go anywhere. Same thing with this guy underneath. Let's say there's something in this deep medium organizer I need. I can open this up, get what I need, close this. Let's say there's something in the big boy down here. And look, this is kind of nice. I want to make sure you can see this. So having this guy on top, if I didn't have him, I'm not sure what I'd grab a hold of. But this, which one is this? This is the low profile medium organizer. Having this on top gives you a nice handle for everything below it, since they're all connected with that MAKTRAK system. I was going to say MAKPAK, but I think that's their old one, so don't say that. So that's what all these guys nested together looks like. And again, they give you these handholds where they're kind of molded for fingertips. Heavy gloves are going to have a hard time grabbing onto that, but it's better than nothing. And then on this opposite side, you've got these big beefy handles. And this little guy, he just makes a good holder for everything else. So, say like that. And this is not light. This is, I don't know what this is. It feels like maybe 30 to 40 pounds, but who knows. I could look it up, but I'm too lazy for that. Come in a bit tighter for the next shot because we have another toolbox in the same footprint of what we've looked at, except it's much bigger. So this is the extra large extension toolbox. I believe this is our first one that has a handle on either side, so you can really get a hold of it there. Let's see what kind of handles do we have on the side. You could physically get your fingers under there. It's not very comfortable, especially if there were weight to this. Now this one's kind of neat. This is the first one, and I want to make sure the other one does it too. Yeah, all the others do as well. But up to this point, haven't we had fixed pivots on all the lids? I'm looking over there to make sure. You didn't have any choice about which way you opened it. This is the first one that you can open on either side. So I can open it from that way, or I can open it from this way. And that's pretty cool to me. And the other thing you can do, of course, is just take that lid off completely by detaching both of them, which I think we'll do just for the purposes of the video. You've got a 3-inch deep organizer right on side, 3-inch deep tray. And then aside from that, this thing is just space. It is nothing but a giant deep space. I was going to say deep hole, but that might have gotten inappropriate. Even in the spot where the MAKTRAK latch interferes, we're still a solid foot deep of storage. Now, of course, you have to back about 3.5 inches of that space out if you're going to store this. But what could you do with this? This is just a hair over 8 inches. And aren't saw blades, don't they make them in like 3, 5, 7 something? There's different sizes, I know, but so maybe you could stack some saw blades on this and have a couple of power saws in here. Maybe you've got sanding belts, grit discs, flap discs, and this is your abrasives chest where you've got an angle grinder and a belt sander and an orbit sander, and I don't know. This one you could just dump all kind of stuff in. So now we're getting into the large toolbox, and this one has 4 latches, but again will allow you to open it from either side. Nice little setup here. It has cables on either side that run top and bottom, and then if you need to prop it up, comes with a little safety thing here that drops like that, so now you can't close the lid. Inside, you'll see that 8-inch MOLLE divider. You also have a storage tray here that fits in. There's some little tabs that hold that up. You can put that on either side. And since there are latches on either side, what that allows you to do, close those ones. We can spin this around and open the other side. This is the front and has our handle there. We have a handle on basically 3 sides of this thing, right? There, there. In the back, not really anywhere to grab hold of good on the back. This bin is 3 inches deep, which gives you about 3.5 inches underneath it, depending on what you're storing, what part. Again, because of the MAKTRAK channels, the bottoms of these are not flat. They undulate? Maybe. For the rest of this, you've got about 6.5, maybe 7 inches of storage. These things are starting to get big enough that I'm having trouble fitting them on screen. This is a 100-pound capacity as well. And that's your large toolbox. Anything fun on the bottom? Ow. No, just your MAKTRAKs. All right, and now we might even have to pull the camera out a little bit further. This is the rolling toolbox. Rolling tool chest, I should say. One of the things, I guess I'll show it to you now. There is a detent right here on either side that will give you a little resistance when it's fully closed. So if I want to extend it, that detent's holding it in, got to yank up a little bit. Something just fell. So what you'll see is that when this handle moves down towards the floor, if it were on the ground, that little black nib clears that teal channel right there, and then it lets it go down. If I've extended it and I'm rolling it so the weight of this tool chest is pushing down, it will not go in. So what that means is if there's no weight in here and I do this, it will want to go down. See that? But once I get it rolling, if the weight is pushing down, it won't go in. As soon as there's no weight, it will. So one of the things that means is if it's light, or if you've got something that's tipping up against the back, you might have that go in. I don't think normally you will, though. I think once everything's loaded down, it's not going to be an issue. But this is how you roll this around. You can roll this around with all that stuff hooked to it as well. Whether or not you're able to lift it up is another thing we'll see. But then that just stows like that. For picking it up, I think this might be, depending on the weight, this is one of your ways, or having a guy on either side. Okay, so we've zoomed back in again. This is one of the ones where you can open on either side. And again, we have our same kind of stuff you saw before. I'm thinking the dimensions, the interior dimensions, are going to be fairly similar between these two. Now this one has a 250-pound capacity. So if you've got the heavy stuff, which makes sense because it's got the wheels, this is what you're going to be using. Same thing as what you're used to seeing in the last one. Get in there. You got to line those little nibs up just right to make sure it'll hold everything good. So that's the rolling tool chest. Now part of what they've designed this to do is to be able to load into a truck. Let's go test that. So again, you got to pay attention to all your weight limitations, but I think the way this works is that you just rest it right there and you can come down and get your handle and lift up. And then you can kind of slide this guy up, get it up there on your tailgate. And then from there, you know, you can either load it into the bed, or I've got a deck system, so it would go on top of the deck system. But those are the little cleats that they make that go on to the back of your tailgate. Keep in mind, this is a 2500, so if you've got a 150, a 1500, you may have a couple extra inches of space where that's even easier. So that's the Makita MAKTRAK system. Is it going to work for you? Well, that's something only you can answer, but I hope this video gave you some tools to figure out if this is something that will work for you. If you've got any follow-up questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Honestly, shooting me an email, that's in the description. That's the best way to get a hold of me if you want to reply. But feel free if you've got more questions about this that weren't answered, and I'll do my best to answer them. On top of that, if you're interested in some Makita swag, they sent me some hats, and my bald noggin does not, I don't like wearing hats. So I would love to give these away to you guys. So if you have any interest in these hats, just go ahead and leave a comment. Give Makita some feedback on these. Tell them if you liked them. Tell them if you didn't like them. Tell them what they could change to make it better. Tell them anything you want, but use that as an opportunity to get some hats. I'm going to reach out to 4 folks in the comments section and send these hats out to you. So make sure you come back to this video and pay attention in case I reply to you asking for your email address. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to Makita for sending these out so we could do this overview video, and we'll see you in the next one.